Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Harris Rubinstein here for the Chat Sports breaking news update. Ezekiel Elliott's suspension, his 6-game suspension that has been looming over the NFL, has officially been reinstated. The TRO, or the temporary restraining order that was granted to him, has been lifted by a New York judge, and we will now see Ezekiel Elliott miss the next 6 games. So let's start on the football side of things. Ezekiel Elliott will miss games against the Chiefs, the Falcons, the Eagles, the Chargers, the Redskins, and the Giants. So a couple big games in there, especially interconference between the Falcons and then interdivision between the Eagles, the Redskins, and the Giants. That game that he will miss against the Eagles is probably the biggest one, as the Cowboys are looking to fight for that NFC East title. Until he comes back, Alfred Morris and Darren McFadden are going to split carries. At this time, the Dallas Cowboys have no plans to sign or trade for another running back. The trade deadline is tomorrow, so if they were going to try to get something done, they would have to get something done pretty quickly. His suspension starts in exactly 24 hours from now to give him and his legal team a chance to consider their appeal options. And like I said before, the Cowboys had run for 290 yards over their last 2 games, which they had won since the Ezekiel Elliott TRO has been lifted. So let's kind of go over from a legal perspective what this means. So first of all, massive loss for Ezekiel Elliott's legal team. This is exactly what they were hoping wasn't going to happen, that the judge was going to lift the TRO, but instead it did. And the judge's argument was very similar to what we saw with the Tom Brady suspension, which was irreparable harm versus the collective bargaining agreement. And again, a judge has ruled in favor of the collective bargaining agreement. So what that means is that Zeke thought that the suspension had deemed unreparable harm onto his overall persona, his viewed from the public, and how he is viewed by the public, I should say. And he believed that that overruled the CBA. However, a judge has now ruled that the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement that the union that he is involved with signed, is more valuable than his own individual irreparable harm argument. So this goes back again to what has been a disastrous collective bargaining agreement for the players. This is now the 3rd time we have faced a situation like this in terms of Adrian Peterson, then Tom Brady with Deflategate, and now with Ezekiel Elliott with this 6-game suspension. This is pretty unprecedented. 6 games for a guy who had no strikes against him previously, regardless of what he was accused of, was pretty it was not well received, I should say, by the entire NFL. So what we see going forward will mean a lot about what we might get on the next CBA. And by the way, if you are thinking at home, what does this mean for the next CBA? This probably means that, or at least I believe it will, this is probably putting us on the path towards another lockout. Not this specifically, but this overall situation of these suspensions, with the going to court and losing, the players never getting sided with. This will end up being a massive issue during the next collective bargaining, and I truly believe that we will end up in a lockout due to that. But let's go to the legal side of things. Like I said, the suspension starts in 24 hours to give him and his legal team a chance to consider their appeal options. He can appeal to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, but there is a chance that the appeal to the Second Circuit will essentially give Zeke another delay in his suspension. It has been widely panned throughout the NFL that Zeke's suspension will most likely end up next season. However, there is an argument for him to just serve it this year and to go into next year with a complete slate. So there's a lot of different moving parts going on. I'm sure that as the next couple days come in, we will have more information for you. If you want to go see a couple of full stories on this, chatsports.com has had outstanding coverage with us all the way. You can go to chatsports.com, see that our headlining story is Ezekiel's suspension, written by our writer Mitchell Renz. He has a couple articles on the top that can fully explain this better. But just to recap one more time, Ezekiel Elliott's 6-game suspension has been reinstated for basically the 2nd time, and the Cowboys will play 4 of the next 5 home games in November at home, and he will miss games against the Chiefs, the Falcons, the Eagles, the Chargers, the Redskins, and the Giants. So that's going to be all for me, everyone. We're going to put this on loop, so anyone that needs a little bit more information on this can stick around and learn more. But for now, Ezekiel Elliott's 6-game suspension has been reinstated, and we will have more information for you guys as the days go on. Remember to tune into our NFL trade deadline show tomorrow, when we will go over the Jimmy Garoppolo trade, the Dwayne Brown trade, as well as whatever happens tomorrow. So that's it for me, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.